we've hit a remarkable mark in this series. Part 10! The first 2-digit number in the whole series. So, part 10 of Alex Rider Archangel. So where we last left off was he had to come here twice at the start of his stay in the hospital. So let's continue on. There was a locked door back ahead of him, but Alex had watched the code being entered only a few days before. For as fast as he could, he pressed the 4-digit number, willing to not make a mistake. He pushed the door open. This was the part of the hospital deserted at night. Was deserted at night, but he knew the machines on the other side never slept. They were kept activated around the clock in case they were needed, and they had never been needed in more than now. Alex could hear a steel watch coming up behind. Could hear steel watch coming up behind him, but he forced himself to stay calm. There was a locked door to deal with, but this one was tripped by a switch concealed under one of the nurses' desks. Alex breathed a silent prayer thanks to the hospital who had oddly made a joke about it as he wheeled him in. There was a large, heavy door ahead of him. It was covered in warning signs beneath a single word: magnet. Alex knew what the warnings said. The orderly told him. He opened the door and went in. There was a narrow, padded bench in front of him. It led to a large machine that reminded him of of a tumble dryer, a space capsule, a giant donut rolled into one. Okay, that one is just out of imagination. That isn't even real. There was a hole in the middle of it. The inner rim rotating slowly. The bench was designed so that it would be raised and pass slowly through the hole. Alex had been placed on the bench when he first came to St. Dominic. The doctor told him exactly what he did. What it did. It was an MRI machine. The legs stood for magnetic resonance imaging. As Alex had passed through the hole, a scanner had taken a three-dimensional image of his body, checking the muscle damage in his chest, arm, shoulder. He remembered the doctor had told him he needed that knowledge now. Now there was a movement in the door. Steel watch had followed him in. "Don't move," Steel watch ordered. He was holding a gun at chest high, the silencer pointing at Alex's head. His shoulders looks like I went the wrong way, he said. "So come with me, you little tow rag," the man replied. And he ran his tongue over the others. "Maybe they don't want to hurt you, but if you try anything, I'll put a bullet in you. I can't move. What? I'm hurt." Steel stared at Alex, trying to see what was wrong. He took a step forward, and that was what happened. The gun was torn out of his grip. It was gone. It was gone so fast that he didn't understand what was happening. As if it was a pair of invisible hands had ripped his weapon away. It was whistling to the darkness, nothing more than a blur. Stillwatch cried out and playing the gun had dislocated two of his fingers, almost tearing them right off. There was a loud clang as it hit the machine and stayed there. As if glued to the surface. The MRI was using an incredibly powerful magnetic field to scan soft tissue. The strength of this machine was 1.5 Tesla. So the notices is on the door had warned anyone approaching into the room to remove all items that are metal. An MRI can pull a set of keys out of a pocket. It can swipe a credit card card clean at 20 paces. Steel had felt its enormous power, but he still hadn't understood. He was about to find out. Alex Redder had adopted the karate stance known as I'm gonna butcher this name, but Zenk Dachi. Feet apart, hands raised, every fiber of his being was concentrated on the man in front of him. It was a challenge to Stewart to take him on with his own bare hands. Stewart couldn't resist. He took a step forward and screamed as his heavy steel entered the magnetic field. Alex watched the announcement, what was known as the missile effect, took place. The man lifted off his feet and hurried through the air, dragged by the watch on his wrist. There was a horrible thud as he crashed into the MRI machine. He had landed awkwardly. His arm, head, and head were tangled together. However, he stayed where he was, half standing, half laying, his legs trailing uselessly behind him. It was over. 4 men and had entered the hospital, and every one of them was either unconscious or worse. Alex was half convinced that there was a second and was half convinced that any second he would wake up in bed. Maybe he had been given too many painkillers. Surely the whole thing was some sort of ghastly medicated dream, but it wasn't. Alex went down to the reception and Connor sprawled behind his desk. There's a single bullet wound in his head. He knew that he had to call the police. He was amazed that he hadn't seen one single nurse during the entire ordeal. He leaned over the desk, reaching for the horn. A cool night breeze across his neck. I should have warned him. The foreman had come into the hospital. But 5 men had been assigned to the job. There was another man, and the driver. And if the main doors hadn't just been opened, there wouldn't have been a breeze. It was too late. Alex realized what that meant. He straightened up as fast as he could, but he wasn't fast enough. He heard nothing. He didn't feel anything, and it feels a blow in the back of his head. He crumped to the floor and lay still. Number page. Wait. What was this? Chapter 4. Should be chapter 4. Okay. Chapter 4. Casper. You're in pain. That's all. You know, your head and your heart pound, and your heart, and your head is pounding, and your heart is throbbing, and you wonder if someone had managed to tie a knot in your neck. It was a feeling Alex Slider knew all too well. The man had been knocked out by Mr. Greenway. Where he was at the Stormbreaker assembly plant. The victorious Mrs. Stella Bosch now shut the Academy of Point Blank, and Niall by the and by Niall at the Windows Palace in Venice. Even Alan Blunt got one of his men to fire a tranquilizer dart into him when he had first infiltrated the headquarters of MI6. It was no different this time. Just slow climb back to nothing, to the world of air and light. Alex became aware that he was lying down, his cheek pressed against the dusty wooden floor. There was an unpleasant taste in his mouth. With the effort, he opened his eyes and closed them. That's the end of E10, but we'll continue in the next one. See you in the next episode. Goodbye.